Everyone, welcome to SCube TV. I am your host Rajni, and today I have with me a very special guest. He is a motivational speaker and also a keynote speaker. Well, everybody knows him. His name is Mr. Simerjeet Singh. Hello, Simerjeet ji. Welcome to SCube TV and welcome to the show.
Hi, Rajni. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Firstly, it's an honor having you on SCube TV. So I'm so thankful to you for taking your time out and speaking with us.
My pleasure. My pleasure indeed. I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Yeah. Okay. So, Majiji, let's just ask you about your journey first. I really would like to know, how did you become a keynote speaker and also a motivational speaker? And we'll be talking about more, but right now, the very first question would be about your journey. If you could tell us and also to the audiences.
So I just went to bed one night and the next morning I woke up, I turned into a motivational speaker and a keynote speaker. No, but jokes apart.
Yeah.
That's what people would like to hear, right? That's the sort of thing people have in mind. Okay, something happened. I was maybe sitting under a tree, or I went to the mountains, or something interesting must have happened, some magical transformation moment. And to be honest with you, Rajni, and there wasn't like one specific moment which initiated this. It's a combination of so many things. I think just like when you are tired of the clothes that you're wearing, that you've always been wearing, and you want a new wardrobe, and the same way, sometimes our higher self also becomes, eager to express itself. So I think around the time at 2008, 2007 and 8 is a time when this higher self was becoming more powerful. And I wanted to give a brand new direction to my life. Although the previous chapter of my life had been great, I've been working in the hospitality industry. Thanks to that, I had the privilege of working in so many different cultures, to see the world, to learn so much from, the people that I interacted with. But 2007 was the time when this voice inside me was telling me, there's more. There's more to life. There's more to you. There's more you can do. And what I realized was that what's always been stopping this was some degree of internal fear of change, perhaps. How is this going to work out? How will I get there? Where do I want to go? So there was like so many questions which were unanswered. Where do I want to go? What is if I'm not satisfied with my life today, what is the new life that I want? So there was lack of clarity on that subject. That was number one. Second is, would I be able to get there? And what if I don't get there? In that case, I also lose what I already have. So these sort of fears had been stopping me for many years. But I realized as time progressed, as the inner voice became stronger, I too was able to reach to a point where I decided, this is my moment now, and this is where I take the plunge. I jump out of the, just like jumping out of the airplane. You don't know what's going to happen next. You have a parachute. And for me, coming back to India was the parachute. Coming back to my roots was the parachute. Knowing that I have safety, there's family around if something goes wrong. So that was my parachute. But so it was a culmination of so many things. So it wasn't like I decided that I want to be a motivational speaker. It's not that I suddenly decided from a hospitality guy to a motivational speaker or to a keynote speaker. That's not how it turned out. It was like from a job to working for myself. It was like from something that made me money to moving to something that gives me a sense of purpose. So there was a directional shift. And then this appeared, this profession appeared, this journey appeared, this staircase appeared. So the intention came in first, and then the other things manifested. So, and then 2007 and 8 onwards, that's how things started changing. And I ventured into this new journey with zero existing clients, zero previous experience, moving back to India after having spent 7-8 years abroad, almost 10 years abroad in 5 different countries. And then It was a brand new start. So starting from scratch, building this thing, learning along the way, those have been my gifts, my biggest gifts of this journey.
Okay. So, you have mentioned about the fear of of that change that you said. So I mean, how did you actually, uh, got out of that comfort zone? Because that is the biggest fear one would have if they would want to start a new journey. So, how did you get over it?
I think you don't like immediately, you don't like, there's no magic pill that you take in order to get over it. You take the next step forward. That's how it is. A lot of people are not able to accomplish the big goals that they set for themselves because they want to do everything in one go. I'm here today at point A, and point B is where I want to go. And I want to see all the way. I want to plan. I want to see everything that's going to happen along the way. And that's unrealistic. It doesn't happen. And because it's unrealistic, it scares us. And because it scares us, we never undertake that journey. So what I did and what I suggest others, anybody who's aspiring to change the direction of their life, this is what I would suggest to you, is to take it one step at a time. Take it one step at a time, right? Take the next step forward. Push yourself outside the comfort zone every single day. So it's not like I had one massive thrust outside the comfort zone. There will baby steps every now and then, baby steps. Of course, there's something, on some days you will take a major risk. On other days, there'll be minor risks, but get used to risk taking. Get used to discomfort. Fall in love with discomfort. Don't fall in love with the status quo. A lot of people are so happy with the things. I wouldn't say happy. A lot of people are so much in love with their current circumstances that they would not take any risks that would sort of compromise that position. In effect, growth never happens without change. I think it's important to understand this. No growth can happen without change, right? So growth by its very definition is going to disrupt something, is going to shake things up, right? Is going to make us uncomfortable. So in order to grow, we've got to experiment. We've got to take that risk. We've got to push ourselves outside the comfort zone. How did I do that? The love of what you do pulls you. It brings you forward. Every time you're scared, if your love for what you want to do is greater than your fear, you will never be afraid. And fear is always there. It's sort of a protection mechanism, some sort of, doubt about how things are going to be. That's always there somewhere in the back of our mind. But if the love for what you're doing is greater, then the pull will be stronger. It will overcome any fear. Take for example, let's assume a little child gets lost in a huge crowd. Let's say it's a big festival going on somewhere, maybe Diwali festival, the Shara festival, or any sort of festival. And a little child and the child and mother came together to enjoy the festival, but somehow they got separated. Now, the child would do anything, isn't it, Brajni? The child would do anything to get back to the mother. The pull is so strong. True. Of course, he's afraid. He's afraid of the crowd. He's afraid of the noise. He's afraid the fear is there. What if I don't find the mother? But he's not going to stop, is he? Because the love is so strong. The love is so strong. So if the love is strong enough, you will overcome the fear. And that's been my journey.
Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, amazing. And I can really connect to what you're saying. And also, one point which has to be noted here is never, ever underestimate your gut instinct.
True. Gut instinct is very, very important. It's like your inner self is speaking to you. It's guiding you.
Yeah. We always say that God is not around. He is actually inside you. So maybe that gut instinct is God that is speaking to you from
absolutely.
The inner side.
Yeah. You can call it God. You can call it higher consciousness. You can call it your inner wisdom. You can call it the universal mind. But there is something beyond our physical selves. I think we need to understand this. If you're setting goals which are way too big, which seem impossible today, me, how could I do this? It's beyond my reach. And if you cannot comprehend it, then you're looking at it from an ego perspective. That's the thing you have to understand. Because you're taking all the stress on yourself. Somehow I have to do it. Me, the Simerjeet Singh today in the flesh and blood aspires to do this thing today. And it's going to be suddenly so difficult because you're looking at this challenge and this journey from an ego perspective. If you look at it from a spiritual perspective and understand who I am today, so many beautiful people came along on this journey and helped me. So many wonderful coincidences have happened in my life. So many people came along, they brought so many skills, so much the universe has provided in order for me to be where I am today. And there is no doubt if I set higher goals, the same assistance from the universe will be available to me. I have to understand. If I look at it from that perspective, suddenly the stress goes down, Rajni. It's not like me trying to do it anymore. It's like I'm surrendering and I've set the intention and I go with the flow and I let the universe do its job while I do my job. And my job primarily is this: clarity on what I want, belief that I can have it, and self love and self appreciation on the journey, and contribution and service to others on the journey. And then magical things happen. But if you look at it from an ego perspective alone, and then we are so tiny in this universe, we are so small, we are so not relevant because we could be easily ignored. We're like a speck of sand in the entire universe. There's galaxies and galaxies of stars and so much happening. But if we surrender and say, hey, divine components are going to come and help me, wonderful things happen. And I think my journey is a testimony to that.
Amazing. I mean, what a perspective you have given, not just to me, but also to the audiences towards their life, and also, towards their journey. Thank you so much for such an amazing perspective. Moving on to my next question. So, to actually motivate others, firstly, we actually need to motivate ourselves. So how do you motivate yourself first?
So first of all, I don't think it's always important that you're motivated and you're motivating someone else, because here's something interesting. On the day that you're feeling low, for example, and it's not like motivation. Yes, you can do it, shout out loud. But if you listen and serve and contribute to someone else, try this. On any day in which you're not feeling good about yourself, on which you're feeling low, right? Just try to make someone else feel better. See if you can make someone else smile that day. See if you can add to somebody else's life that day. And what's going to happen? Magically, you will feel better in the process. Suddenly, after you've finished with that conversation, you'll say, wow, I could do this. I could change somebody's mood. I could bring a smile to someone's face, right? Like we have beautiful smiling faces in front of us right now during this conversation. But when you see that your effect to change and uplift somebody's mood is there, you feel better in the process. So first thing, I have a slightly different opinion. You may be feeling low, a little unsure, but if you're called for a higher purpose and you go and answer that higher purpose, you end up feeling better in that process. Now, the second thing is, of course, your vessel needs to be full. So if I have this empty glass in front of me right now and somebody else is thirsty, I can't give away much. It's already empty, right? There's not much in it. But if it's overflowing, I can then help other people. So I have to put myself in a position to be overflowing and to serve humanity and serve other people. You just have to find out the activities that nourish you. Find out what nourishes you. Sit with yourself and identify. There's two categories of activities. Category one, you enjoy them when you're doing it, but you regret it later. You don't feel good afterwards, right?
Okay.
Overeating, for example, right? Right?
For sure,
yeah, right. Category two, you don't enjoy these things as much when you're doing it, but they leave a very nice after effect. Exercise, for example. Some people might find meditation very difficult in the beginning, or reading a book very difficult in the beginning, or gardening very difficult in the beginning, but the after effects are nice. Figure out what nourishes you, right? What makes you happy in the long run, especially after you've done the exercise, during and after. And do these things more often, right? For me, I think one of the most important things, I have this Abraham Hicks. I listen to Abraham Hicks a lot. And I have this little reminder sitting on my desk. I want to read it out for everyone. My most important relationship is with my source. My most important relationship is with my source. There is no relationship of greater importance to achieve than the relationship between you in your physical body, right here, right now, and the soul source, God, from which you have come from. If you tend to that relationship first and foremost, all other relationships will be on a stable footing, right? Please understand this. If your relationship to your higher self, to your higher self, is if you're nurturing that, every other relationship will flourish. Your relationship with your own body, your money, with your parents, your children, grandchildren, and your world will all easily fall into alignment once you tend to this fundamental relationship first, which is your relationship to your source. So I try to take out time for that every day. It's not a ritualistic thing. It's more a spiritual thing. So I do the Gurbani prayers, my part in the morning, and one in the evening. In the evening, I do the Reras Sab. In the morning, it's the Dukh Panjni Sab, which is a prayer of removing disease and other things from your body, and meditation, sitting in stillness, sitting in silence, and other sort of things. Gardening, cooking, spending quality time with the kids, or doing what I love doing. So you've got to strike this right balance. There are activities which will drain us. And since we all live in the real world, we have to do those activities. We cannot run away. I wish I was sitting on a monastery somewhere in the hills and, preaching about inner peace. It all becomes relatively very simpler when you have no real world obligations. But if you're like a young mother or a homemaker, and you have a family who needs your assistance all the time, or you're an entrepreneur like us, you step into the door of your office and 5 people immediately need your attention for so many things that are going wrong, right? And you cannot run away, right? You cannot run away. You have to answer all those things. So that is when you learn to strike the right balance. You understand, you accept there are things that are going to happen which will deplete my energy. These are things which are going to deplete my energy. How can I then do more of the things which are going to replenish me? And that's where the secret lies. It's no secret, it's common sense, right? It's common sense. I got to do more of the things that replenish me. So my net balance is positive. So I'm not taking out my anger or my frustration on the wrong people. This is what happens. When you're depleted, there are other things which have bothered you, which have you feel the burnout, and now all of a sudden what happens? The wrong person comes and they say something which is not even remotely related or not offensive at all, but off you go. You get triggered because empty, right? So learn to fill up your tank, guys. It's really that important. If your car on the highway, if you run out of gas or petrol, right, and it shows empty, it's not the car's fault. Please understand this. The meter is just showing empty, refuel me. And, it would be a wrong strategy to get out of your car and kick the car. The car is not at fault. It's only saying, hey, you haven't refueled me. And that is what, when we feel stressed or frustrated or angry or miserable, our body, our mind, our spirit is telling us, hey, I'm empty. You need to fill me up again. Do something that fills me up. So find out what fills you up. Is it dance? Put on some nice music and dance. Is it watching a comedy clip? Is it cooking something nice? Is it doing your gardening, your exercise, your sports? What is it for you? There's got to be something. And every person has a different mechanism. So my solutions might not work for you, right? Or for somebody else who's watching right now. But you are aware of what works for you. Go back into the moments when you feel good about life. Review and then go and do that stuff over again. That's the common sense solution to this. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you're suggesting here that you have to perform your karma, but also listen to your higher self.
Absolutely. Well said, Rajni. Completely agree with that.
Okay. There's one more guest that I would like to welcome to SQ TV, a woman I love, I absolutely adore.
And we are eagerly looking forward to hearing from her and interacting with her. Yeah.
Yes, we are. So she is joining us, she is joining us from USA. Her name is Archana Gupta. Archana ji, hi and welcome to SQ TV once again.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.
Hi, Archana.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. I'm already nervous.
No, don't be.
And you being my role model. I mean, it's amazing. You have already answered half of my questions, which I wanted to ask you.
Great. This is divine coincidence.
Other than my spiritual guru, Sai Baba, my mom, my sister, if ever I need motivation, I go to you for motivation.
That really means a lot to me, Isha ji. It really means a lot. Isha. Now, for example, for some reason, your screen name is appearing as Isha. Sorry, Archana. Sorry.
Okay, Archana ji here, I also would like to, Okay, Archana ji here, I also would like you to introduce yourself to us and also to the audiences, and of course to Mr. Simerjeet Singh too.
Sure. Hello everyone, I'm Archana from Shimla, Himachal Pradesh, India, and I live in the US. I'm a teacher by profession, and I also belong to the International Satsang Organization of USA, and I am a freelance volunteer. I volunteer freelance as a motivator, and for emotional support, I'm also volunteering for emotional support with 7 Cups free counseling service worldwide, and I'm admin of a motivational group called Uplift International on Facebook, and I'm admin of an online volunteering team of uh, professionals from different fields of life who have come together to help people. I'm a blogger, podcaster, YouTuber, and actually they all are different platforms for the same purpose. Actually, during COVID, I was quarantined for some time, for a week, and at that time I had 2 options: either I get depressed and be sad and just waste the whole week, or I thought maybe I could just try to help people like me. And I joined many motivational groups as well as some depression groups, and I was able to help some people, and that is how people came to know about me. And now it has become a part of my daily routine. It's like first half of the day people are messaging me and or calling me, and I try to help people solve their day-to-day life problems regarding stress and things like that. And other than that, I'm also working towards getting certified as an international life coach, because I felt that motivation was not really enough for everyone. Motivation is telling you what to do, and life coaching is like helping you, like, how to guide you how to get from point A to point B. But then I realized that was also not enough. Some people needed therapy, excuse me, like for anxiety and all. So I also enrolled in a couple of courses like CBT, NLP, and I mean, I'm not going to do all of them together, but it's like a lifetime thing. I can take my time to complete it. But I mean, I want to do every possible thing to help people. So that's pretty much about me.
You made a wonderful choice. When you were quarantined, you had either the opportunity of letting that get to your nerves and affecting you, or you made a choice to serve other people, and how beautifully that has shaped up. Wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you.
Even if I have any problem going in my day-to-day situation, I directly go to Archana ji for the motivation, and she has helped me. I would like to tell all the people here listening that she has helped me too, and she is doing an amazing job. And thank you so much, Archana ji, for coming to SQ TV once again. And I know
Thank
you
you.
have a couple of questions for Mr. Simerjeet, so if you can put them forward and ask him.
Sure. First, I would like to know, how did you kickstart your career?
Mm, just pick up your car in the morning and go see sort of clients. We started with corporate clients. So, we would just walk into, just even without appointment, we would just, me and my wife would walk into, so many corporate offices, go speak to so many people, pick up the phone and dial, start talking to people. And that's how it all started. And one thing led to another. You need like a few people in the beginning to sort of believe in you. And then it kicks off a beautiful string of events that leads to something better as you go along. So we didn't have a big launch. We didn't have like a fancy PR party. We didn't have a PR team. We had us and our conviction and, the desire to make it happen. So yeah, just start your car in the
They
morning.
say,
We would just print a few pages at home using the home printer and just walk into offices everywhere, some with appointments, some cold calling on the phone, personal visits, and on the ground. And then the internet happened. So thanks to the internet, that was like
oh,
a couple of years after that the internet happened, and it opened so many additional doors. But that was 2 years later, right? Yeah.
wow,
Mm-hmm.
amazing. They say what belongs to you will find its way to you.
Yeah, I certainly believe in that. Archanaji. Yeah, what belongs to you will find its way to you. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yes. And I'm
So
sure there are so many exciting things coming in the future also.
I'm
Let's
sure.
hope so. Ji.
So what is the secret of your vibrant energy?
My vibrant energy, the secret, decluttering, I think that would be number one. I don't allow a lot of mental clutter, physical clutter, remove clutter, try to actively monitor, just like we monitor the health of our laptops and our computers and our machines, make sure there's not too much load on the processor, right? I just want to make sure my processor is not getting overloaded. The same way, I just try to, I'm aware and I don't allow my processor to get overloaded, because not everything you won't be able to do everything on your to-do list. So on my desk, my wonderful assistant, she makes a to-do list every morning, right? So every once in a while, I'll get motivated. I'm going to clear off everything off this list. But the interesting part is we've never had an empty list ever in the last whatever number of years. There's always going to be a list. Even when I'm not here on this planet, there's going to be a list, which means there's going to be stuff to do always, which means make peace with the fact that you won't be able to do everything, which then leads to the question, can I do the most important things? Can I do what matters the most? And I think if you spend sufficient time every day on figuring that out, half the job is done. And learn to say no. Learn to say no to what is not in harmony with your goals, because we're living in a very exciting world, and yet there are so many traps. There are traps we can get lost in. The trap of approval from other people on social media, the trap of making yourself heard. Oh, I want to be relevant always, so we should always be doing something. There's so many traps which we are conditioned to believe in. You must always be advertising or you'll become irrelevant. You must launch a YouTube video 3 times in a week or people are going to forget about your existence. And those are all lies. You can spend your life in peace, focus on what's important, and say no to what is not relevant. And I think that really helps you declutter your energy physically and mentally.
So what is
Simerjeet, Archana, I would like to take a moment and ask him, because I'm getting a question, a live question. There's one person who wants to know. He actually is saying that my parents don't understand my situation, and I really feel isolated. I'm an introvert, and I don't like to share problems with my friends. So how to be happy in such a situation? If you could answer his.
It's a beautiful question. And I think we must all understand, every child has had a gap of understanding with their parents. Every child, to some extent. Because there is, with every passing year, so many new things are happening. And between the parent and the child and the offspring, there's like a gap of maybe 20, 25, so many years, so many number of years. The world changes completely. It's a new paradigm. There are new opportunities. There's so much happening, which parents might not necessarily understand. So every youngster who's listening to this right now, I want you to make peace with this fact. And I want you to also understand, if there is resistance, it is not to stop your progress. It is with good intentions. They care for you. They want you to have stable lives. They want you to have a safe career. So they're not doing it out of, I don't want my kid to do this because I don't want to see my kid progress, or I don't want my kid to become a movie star. But hey, what if my kid becomes a movie star and then, gets sucked into this world of superficiality and so many other things? So they're speaking from a point of concern, but please understand, they cannot see what you can see. The vision that you can see is yours, exclusively yours. Parents cannot see it. Sometimes your mentors will not be able to see it. Sometimes your vision will possess you so much that nobody else will be able to understand. And that's where, my friend, you need to develop this silent courage to follow your vision, to understand, if this vision has come to me, God will also give me the power to fulfill this vision. Otherwise, it wouldn't have come. Right? Yeah. If this thing is appearing in my mind, I am so possessed by this idea. Rajni, you're an RJ yourself. There must have been a time when you sort of, your creative ability told you, this is you. You've got to go into this direction, right? And you start answering it. It's not a one-day thing. And therefore, I also urge youngsters to develop patience, to understand some of these issues are going to take time. Your parents developing that understanding is going to take time. You discovering your purpose is going to take time. So if you feel that you cannot talk about this to your friends, there are multiple ways that you can get help. We have this wonderful resource person with us today, Archana ji, who's been helping, volunteering, doing so much. I am sure there's so many people in your community who can do that for you. Find out who those people are. Find out, can they give me unbiased opinion? Okay. Right? And then approach them. Yeah. Did you want to add something, Archana ji?
Yes. Can you please get in touch with me through Uplift International? It's a motivational group on
There you
Facebook.
go.
I
There
would
you
like
go.
to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. You have help. You have help. And learn to ask for help. There's nothing wrong. Thank you for bringing that beautiful question, Rajni. And I think every youngster should understand, especially in the subcontinent here, we have sort of this stigma around asking for help. Why this
Yeah.
person needs help. And we must understand that we must get comfortable with asking for help, right? And once you ask, you will receive it. And that's just get comfortable with it.
Okay, I hope the person who has asked this question must have got his answer.
Yeah,
And thank
detailed
you so
answer.
much for, yeah, detailed answer. Okay, so Simerjeet, I actually would also like to ask one more question here. Because of this this day and age, social media is such a trendy thing going on everywhere, and social media is actually has become a platform for actually getting your identity.
Right.
If you are there having a number of followers, it means you have done something in your life, and if you have few number of
which is
followers, it
which is
means
a lie. You can buy followers, in bulk
yeah.
on Twitter, on Instagram. That is the biggest lie ever.
Exactly,
Yeah,
but not everybody knows it. So
yeah,
it has actually become a validation for today's youth. Social
right,
media has
right.
actually become
True. I
validation.
agree. I agree with that, Rajni. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and there are every day there are trolls going on and so
Mm-hmm.
many things going on around social media. So, what would you suggest today's youth in terms of, not considering social media such an important part of your life? Just think it as a medium of business for the one who has created it, and just don't, find your identity over social media. What would
I
you like
think
to
you've
tell
raised
them?
a wonderful topic here because if we talk about bullying, for example, if bullying would happen on a school campus earlier, or a school playground earlier, or a school classroom earlier, and now we have cyberbullying. So, which means you can't escape the bully. The kids can't escape the bully, even when they're back home. There's social media stuff and all that. Couple of things. Trolls are the person who would not have the courage to say that to you when they're in front of you. These are the same folks who would not have the guts to open their mouth in front of you, but sitting in obscurity somewhere behind a screen, they have now the ability to type in and sort of say something negative. And you know why? Because they hate themselves. They want to hurt you. They want to say nasty things to you because they're not at peace with themselves. There is this huge deficiency in their own lives. They're missing out on something, and they're trying to fulfill that by pulling you down. So ignore to these people. You wouldn't listen to them in real life. Why would you listen to them online? Second thing, social media by its very nature is designed to hook you, is designed to force you to come back again and again. It's called, what's it called? There is an abbreviation for it: FOMO, fear of missing out. Fear of missing out.
Yeah,
Why is
missing
that?
out. Yeah.
Yeah, fear of missing out. Why is that? Against a beautiful light blue background, which is most of the social media platforms have a beautiful light blue background in the background. And when they're giving you notifications, why are the notifications bright red in color? To evoke these primal responses in your mind that, hey, there is something that you must check right now, which could be as useless as your primary school classmate liking your photograph, which you never wanted to be on social media anyway. But now that the notification has appeared, you suddenly have the urge to check it out. So try this. No notifications. Switch off all the notifications. You don't need, have that 20-minute slot in your day when you go check all your social media, but switch off the notifications, right? And have downtime on social media, and understand what you see is highlights of other people's lives. I don't wake up in a suit. I don't go to sleep in a suit, right? It's showtime right now. We got to be at our best. And so understand that people that you look up to, they're not on how they appear on social media. That's not how their life always is as it appears to be on social media. Those are the highlights. That's a curated, a beautified, filtered, sort of reality. It's not reality. You can't compare 90% of your life with the 10% highlights of somebody else's life. You do that, and you're going to fall into this trap, which will tell you you're not enough. You're not enough, and that's the worst thing you can ever tell yourself, is I am not enough. So in order to compete in this stupid race, I must also now travel to multiple places or put on all these photographs. We had so many instances of these young teenagers. They would use a green background, and they would click these photos and have them photoshopped appearing that they've traveled all across the world because they wanted to be cool. And, this is a trap, guys. Stay away from this trap of approval. This is a race that you're not going to win, even if you win it, because it's so depressing. Just be yourself. Just be yourself, and don't fall into this trap. And use this. Understand that this conversation would not be happening if we didn't have social media. Let's understand that, please. Let's understand that this technology is never good or bad. Nuclear power is not good or bad. It's how you use it. Social media is not good or bad inherently, but it's how you use it. Inherently, it is addictive. We have to understand it is addictive. So once we know what you're getting into, if you go to a party and alcohol is being served, and okay, if I have one glass of champagne and I'm going to have a good time, and I would, to raise the toast, and now I have the fifth glass of champagne and it's not going to be good for me. Once you know how it's affecting you, you learn to monitor it. I think that's where the key is.
Okay. Thank you so much for putting it so precisely and making the youth understand the difference between the scam and actual validation and what actual life is. And moving to my other question, I actually have got one more question from the audiences. So the question is, I'm feeling low these days because of my relationship problem. How to get over a relationship if you have been invested in it wholeheartedly? Would you like to answer it?
It's a tough one, in the sense that you can't really answer it in one go, or it really depends the depth, what the depth of that relationship was, what that person meant to the other person, how long were they together. But if it's understand why it's come to an end, or understand why it's come to the point where it has come to, what are the reasons? Is this situation trying to tell you something? Is this a warning from the universe? Is the universe trying to tell you something? To take a second look at, so don't give knee-jerk reactions, and don't let your validation, your existence, your approval depend upon somebody else's presence in your life, right? Although it's painful, I know it hurts a lot when you've been in a relationship and that other person means a lot for you. But then if it's becoming demeaning to you or becoming toxic to you, it's also time to take a second look at it, and also see what are the lessons here. I think any difficult situation like this person is going through this breakup or whatever they're going through right now has lessons. COVID-19 has lessons for us. Financial constraints have lessons for us. The universe is trying to teach us something. Question is, are we listening? Are we learning? Are we following or not? So if things have come to a standpoint where these two people have moved into entirely different directions, I think it's time to sit with yourself and understand why, what led to this. And what is the universe trying to tell us? Is this like sort of a warning to take a different route, or to understand that, sometimes when one chapter closes, another one begins, or to take a break from this entire thing, but not to let your entire existence depend upon the approval or validation of one individual, no matter how you love them. Relationships should nourish each other and complement two individuals. If they're taking away your positive energy and a lot of other things, right? If they're subduing your brilliance, maybe time to take a second look.
True. So here you're suggesting to the person that, consider everything as a part of your life, not your whole life.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's so much more to life than a single relationship. So much more to life.
True that. Archana ji, I would also like to again, welcome you, and I would like to ask you to come to the screen. And if you have any question for Mr. Simerjeet Singh, if you would like to ask him any other question, because we have very less time.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what is happiness to you?
Peace with myself. Happiness to me is living the life that I want to live. Happiness to me is a feeling of gratitude and joy and contentment. Happiness to me is good health. Happiness is the adventure of life and taking risks. Happiness is service, making a difference to somebody else's life. Happiness to me is bringing a smile on somebody else's face. Happiness to me is unleashing and using all my talent to serve humanity and make the world a better place. Happiness to me is growing old as a satisfied man, knowing that I've done everything that I could have done. Happiness to me is taking somebody under my wing who had, who didn't know anything about the world and teaching them something, making something out of them. Happiness to me is gardening and planting something. Happiness to me is growing a tree. Happiness to me is reading my favorite book with a nice cup of coffee. Happiness to me is having an uplifting conversation like this. So yeah, happiness to me is multiple things. Yeah, yeah.
Can I ask another question? Do we have time?
Sure.
Basically, very small, but
Okay.
things that would
So,
really make you happy.
so how would you motivate a person who has completely lost hope in life, who is like suicidal and has no anchor in life?
I think even if you're driven to be in a position like that, even if your circumstances have forced you to be in a position like that, you can review and find that there are so many times in your life when things worked in your favor. No matter how bad the current circumstances are, there were times in your life when things were working in your favor. And if you just review those times, you will find so much positive energy. And you will, more than that, more than the positive energy, Archana, you're going to find a glimmer of hope. If that worked for me, what else can work for me? If that worked for me, what else can work for me? So nobody's life is constantly a bed of roses, and no one's life is constantly full of thorns and blockades and those sort of things. So it comes to all of us in different mixtures. And I think if you are driven to a situation where you're finding yourself hopeless, just go back to a time when things were working in your favor. You're breathing right now. Take a deep breath and inhale. And as you do that, you will realize you still have the biggest gift with you ever. That is life itself, right? And that is full of so many possibilities. I want to read this beautiful poem that I found. It's called This Too Shall Pass. This too will pass. It's for people who are finding themselves in a difficult situation. This too will pass, O heart, say it over and over, out of your deepest sorrow, out of your deepest grief. No hurt can last forever. No hurt can last forever. Perhaps tomorrow will bring relief. This too will pass. It will spend itself. Its fury will die as the wind dies down with the setting sun. Assuaged and calm, you will rest again, forgetting a thing that is done. Repeat it again and again. O heart, for your comfort, this too will pass as surely as passed before. And I'm sure if everyone who's listening right now, you've been through tough situations before and they passed. What is the common saying? Tough people last, tough circumstances don't, right? And this is what the poet is trying to remind us here. This too will pass as surely as passed before, the old forgotten pain and other sorrows that you once bore. As certain as stars at night or dawn after darkness, inherent as the lift of the blowing grass, whatever your despair or your frustration, this too will pass. Whatever your despair or your frustration, this too will pass. Grace Noel Cowell, beautiful poem there. This too will pass. So no matter how bad things are at the moment, understand we've all been through very horrible circumstances and we made it out of those circumstances. And this is the beauty. Life gives us valleys and peaks, valleys and peaks. It's never an even surface. Valleys are to mature yourself. A lot of us will find ourselves in a valley right now. Do you agree with that? We're not at a peak. We have so much time to ourselves. We feel stuck. We're not traveling. We're not doing the sort of things that we used to. Take it as a valley. And valleys are what are going to enrich you. Now is the time to make yourself stronger. So when things get back to normal, which they eventually will, that you're ready for the peaks. An ancient Greek philosopher, he said, success is when preparation meets opportunity. And I think that's beautiful. Preparation meets opportunity. If you're stuck right now, prepare for when the doors open that you are ready to strike and do what you want to do, right? But what if you waste this time right now? Don't ask yourselves the wrong question. The wrong question right now would be, what's going to happen tomorrow? Nobody knows. When is the second going wave to hit? I know in the US, the second wave is coming in Europe, many places, and so we don't have answer to certain questions. The right questions you can ask yourselves is, what am I going to do tomorrow? How can I uplift myself, my skill level, my mindset, my happiness level? What can I do tomorrow? That's within your control. When is the vaccine going to come? We don't know yet. I wish I could tell you that. No one can right now. Ask yourselves the right questions. I think that's really important here.
Amazing,
Thank you.
amazing. Okay, Simarjeet ji, I actually, I think we have passed the time limit, but still, one last question to you.
Sure.
I mean, would you suggest to the audiences some books that they should read, to motivate themselves and also to make themselves better?
Sure. Read the Bhagavad Gita. I think that's for people who understand it in Hindi, read it, the Hindi version of it or the English translation of it. Profound wisdom there. For people who follow the Sikh religion, when you are reciting your prayers morning or evening or right, especially for the youngsters, understand the translation, please, so you get to the depth of the meaning, so you can connect with the meaning of that. It's really important for youngsters sometimes that that some of us are more comfortable reading some material in English, and that's where you need to get your hands onto a translation, so that when you're chanting or when you're praying, right, whatever religion you follow, that you're able to, that the meaning is able to touch you, because repetition is powerful. If you're repeating something every day religiously, and then if the meaning also hits you time and again, your subconscious gets a lot of strength from that. Other sort of books that I would recommend, more general in nature, to develop your skills during this tough time, is Mastery by Robert Greene. I'm not getting any commission from these
Okay.
book sales, by the way. They just happen to be my favorite books are always close by. Mastery by Robert Greene. Beautiful in a story format. Robert Greene shares with us how normal individuals, not talented, in this book you will find it's not talent that wins the game. There are processes of how people reach mastery. Beautiful story format. He's dissected the lives of some of the great masters of the world, like Leonardo da Vinci and Michael Faraday and others, and you would love this book. The next one, if I may recommend, especially in these changing times, is Courage by Osho. The
Okay.
Courage, the joy of living dangerously. Beautiful book. It's all about managing change. It's all about stepping into the unknown, all the other sort of things that we were talking about. It's about, going beyond your current circumstances and taking those risks. Courage, the art of living, the joy of living dangerously. That's one. The other one that I often read and recommend is a slightly academic in nature. It's called Flow by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, Professor Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. And the book is titled Flow. It's slightly academic in nature because it's coming from a professor. And therefore, you see, I read it and I reread it with all these little markers everywhere, but profound wisdom there. And I think distill it in a couple of sentences. If I pick my favorite lessons from this one, is he talks about attention units, AU. We all have attention units. Where you're spending your attention units is going to determine whether you go into the flow state or not. And the flow state is the magical state where singers produce their best songs, where artists produce their best paintings, where speakers come up with their best words. It's a magical state of going beyond your physical self. And you will learn all about here in this book called Flow. Another one that I like is called Man's Search for Meaning. Short story, Man's Search for Meaning. It's a very powerful book by a gentleman called Dr. Viktor Frankl. He was caught in the Nazi prison camp. For 2 years, he faced death every day. And what he discovered? Even in the worst situations, human beings can make choices. And he discovered the most important choice we make is our attitude. He discovered facing death every day. He saw the best of humanity and he saw the worst of humanity. And he captures that beautifully in this small book called Man's Search for Meaning. And there's plenty more, but just these top ones that come to my mind right now. Thank you, Rajni.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Simerjeet Singh, for coming to SCube TV and speaking with us. It was so lovely having you on our show. It was one of the best episodes I had ever.
Thank
So
you so
thank you
much.
so much again.
That means a lot. Thank you, Rajni, for hosting, for asking these insightful questions. And thank you, Archana ji, for accompanying and adding value to this discussion today.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
sir. You are like an active, like live encyclopedia
Oh,
of motivation.
right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you to both of you once again.
Once again. And thank you to your entire S-Cube team for making this happen today. I know there's a lot goes on behind the scenes. I thank every single person who's been behind the scenes to enable this message to go out to everybody who's watching right now or later on. Thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, guys, that's it from SCube TV. Keep on watching.